You're watching Your View.
Thank you for joining us. This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner.
Hey, great friends. It is a Tuesday afternoon. Today is July 20th, 2021. And the entire Kaplan and Crew show is back together again. If you're catching up to us on the radio airwaves of 1090, happy to have you guys along. If you are with us today on our YouTube channel, make sure you get in our chat, leave a comment, a thumbs up, all the different things that we ask to do because it all helps. And then tonight, you'll catch us on TV, those of you who are watching right now, between 7 and 8 p.m. on Channel 4 San Diego and Channel 4 Santa Barbara. If you're in Orange County or Palos Verdes, it's Channel 118. It's part of the Cox Your View network. And I'm telling you guys last night, Grande, Browner, I'm telling you two dudes that last night, my parents are in town from Boca del Vista Phase 4. And we went out for a family dinner last night. I've been trying to get my kids around my parents as much as possible while they're here. You know, I'm trying to actually introduce them.
Table for 6?
It was a table for 7. And then one kid always winds up bringing a friend. And so, you know, before you know it, it's 8, 9, and the thing expands, you know. So I'm sitting at dinner last night. And I get a text message from a friend of mine. I'm going to give him a shout out. His name is Brian Ahern. And I told this story about Brian probably a year and change ago, before we ever got back onto 1090. I met Brian one day for lunch. Brian was very proud. He had gotten himself a new car, a very fancy high-end car, right? And we weren't on radio back then. And he said to me, I don't understand how to get the show. I get in my car. I just want to turn on the radio. And I'm like, bro, look at this freaking car that you have. Look at this piece of technology that you have that you're driving around, and you can't figure out how to Bluetooth from YouTube the show in your car. So I had to school my man about how to use some modern technology back in the day in his brand new, very expensive, very high-end car. I think he had gotten a new Bentley at the time, right? So, I mean, this is a fat-ass car. And now he's so happy that he can get into this car and turn on the radio because, believe it or not, his Bentley still has an AM radio in it. But last night he texted me and he goes, dude, I just saw the show on Channel 4. When did this happen? I haven't seen it. I haven't heard about it. I love it. It's awesome. I'm like, great. Glad that you're catching up. So again, 1090, YouTube, Channel 4, part of the Your View network. Happy to have everybody along. Grande, how's it feel for you to have been off for a week and a day, getting back into the routine? How you feeling today, pal?
I only feel tanner. That's it. I feel exactly the same, but I feel tanner. I feel a little burnt on the crispy on the shoulders. Like this morning I woke up and my shirt like peeled, like attached to my skin. So that's probably not a very good sign. But other than that, I feel normal. I feel great. No vacation hangover here yet. So all good.
Browner, what would you give us as a score for the 6 days in total that Alex was out? And again, remember, I told this story that when we were doing podcasting and then COVID hit and we had to all disperse, Alex wrote his own playbook. How he does what he does, only he understands the playbook. He coaches it. He quarterbacks it. He's the only guy who really knows how to do it.
I invented West Coast, or what's that? West Coast style football. Who invented that style of football?
Bill Walsh.
Would you say like Bill Walsh was the guy?
That's
You're the Bill Walsh. You're the Bill Walsh of podcasting, radio,
television,
broadcasting, TV, cable broadcasting. Yeah, you're the Bill Walsh of all this.
That's me.
So we had a 20-year-old young man, a college student at Syracuse University who's been interning for us this summer, try and fill Bill Walsh's shoes. Browner, what grade would you give the show overall in the 6 days that Bill Walsh was not available to us?
I would not give it an overall grade in one section. I would say the regular show was a 9. I would say the post-production was about a 6, maybe a 5. Cameron did a great job. He's not in charge of the internet, and it's a lot of information to process and then turn over at the speed that he was trying to do it in the window he was trying to do it in. So I would say overall, I would give the actual show a 9 because he brought a lot of interesting things to the show. Like he had these timelines. His timelines were great. He did winners and losers, but getting to show up.
Alex, you missed it. Cameron would do this bit every day at the beginning of the show called Winners and Losers.
Yeah.
And on Friday, it was hilarious. On Friday, the winners were like, Del Mar, opening day, all the people that are going to be there enjoying and celebrating. And the losers, he had these two pictures of him and Browner. They were the losers because they weren't going to be at Del Mar. They were going to have to be in our new corporate offices in Sorrento Valley. He's like, the winners, Kaplan and people who are at Del Mar. The losers, Cameron and Browner, the two guys that don't get to go. But Browner showed up in a big way on Friday afternoon. He brought it.
Man, listen. I wasn't going to miss it. I wasn't going to let it go on without me. It's just, sometimes at the end of the night, the nightlife portion of it, I knew I had to tap out. Yeah. But before we get to anything, so you said you were at the dinner and your kids usually bring a friend. Is there a friend of your kids that you go, yeah, he can't come or she can't come? Does that friend exist? There's got to be one kid like, yeah, don't bring that kid around me.
Not so much.
Rusty. I hate Rusty. Like, is there like that one kid?
I don't really have one kid that I'm like, don't bring that dude around. But I will tell you this, like my daughter had one of her friends sleep over the other night. And this kid comes in like she owns this house, like she just owns the house. Everything belongs to her. I sat there and I watched her eat breakfast the other day. She had a bagel, she had yogurt, she had granola, she had bananas, she had blueberry. And I thought to myself, I went to the grocery store the other day, bought all this freaking food so that this kid could come to my house and eat everything that she wants to eat. And I don't know why, but it was like my mother was inside my head. Like my mother said to me the other day, she said, if it were me, I would make all these kids do everything on their own. I would never have a housekeeper, never. And I'm like, yeah, Ma, look, I got 4 kids. Okay. I got like 3 jobs. Okay. And I would like to have a person, this woman, Sarah, has been with us for honestly like 20 years since we're in San Diego. And she comes and she cleans once a week. She helps do the laundry, change the sheets. She helps clean up the house. I mean, listen, without her, I'd be completely freaking lost, right? My mother goes, not for me. I'd make all of them do it on their own. And I said, yeah, but what if they don't? She goes, well, then they don't make their beds and they don't do their laundry. And then the dishes can stack up. And I'm like, yeah, but who do you think is ultimately going to do it? It's me. It's me. And I'll tell you guys, man, listen, I love my mom. And Alex, it was so great to meet your mom last week. I love my mom. I do.
Shout out.
She does some things that make me a little nuts, like a little bit nuts. And she's in her own world because she and my dad, they live in Boca del Vista Phase 4. It's just the two of them. They can do their own thing. But when she comes here, she does her own thing, but it makes me like a little nuts. Like, I'll give you an example. My mom talks on the phone all day long.
No speaker?
No, but she's got it attached to her head all day long. She doesn't use AirPods.
So she's not black lady in public?
No, she's not. She's Jewish lady in her son's house. So the other day we were invited to a guy I know, and he has these pickleball courts at his house. And my dad loves pickleball. So I said to this guy I know, I said, hey, my dad's going to be in town. Could we come over and play? And he's like, yeah, great. Come on over. So we go over. And now my mother is sitting in the middle. Rachel, my girlfriend's on one side, and the homeowner, my buddy Ken, he's sitting over here. And Rachel and Ken are trying to have a conversation, and my mother is sitting in between them, talking at the top of her lungs. Oh my God, that's horrible. I'm so sorry to hear about that. When did she die? What happened? Was anybody with her? Where's she going to be buried? When is the funeral? Is it going to be on Zoom? And blah, 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 blah. These two are trying to have a conversation. My mother, I'm like, Mom, can you get up and walk away? No, but I love my mom. I'm so happy to have my parents here visiting and being around my children and having dinners together every night. But sometimes, listen, you get it. You become adults. Everybody gets into their own thing. And then, people get under each other's skin. What can I tell you? I mean, put it this way. My parents are staying here. I've been sleeping at Rachel's.
That's awesome.
I had a little opposite thing when my mom was here last week. She was here for 5 days before we ended up going to Cabo. And I was like being back in high school, dude. I would just be laying on the couch. She'd be cleaning around me. She's like, hey, what do you want to eat tonight? She'll start making dinner. I'm like, Mom, leave the dishes. Don't do the dishes. Oh, no, please stop. And she's doing the dishes. I'm not getting up. She's doing the dishes. She's cleaning. This house I walked in here, dude, it was immaculate. I've never seen this house so clean in my life. I want my mom to move in.
Yeah. Now here I am fetching about my mom yapping on the phone. Alex is complimenting his mom, her cooking, her cleaning, etc. Browner, with all due respect, I don't need your mom in my house, man. I don't want her to stab me. You feel
No,
me?
whoa,
Hey,
you might
hey,
slip
hey,
around
hey.
her.
No,
You might
wait.
slip.
What I meant was What I meant was I don't want her leaving any knives on the floor that I
No,
might
no,
slip
no,
and
no,
fall
no,
and
no,
stab
no.
myself. Is what
My
I
mom
meant.
actually, one of the first things my mom asked was about Browner's mom. She goes, "How's that going?" Because you guys know my mom watches the show, and she's like, "How's that going?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Like, what's the latest?" And I was like, "Oh, about the slipping, you mean?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "What?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
You're talking about the dude that fell next to Browner's
Yes.
mom on the knife." And she's like, "What?" And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, the guy slipped." And she's like, "Oh."
Yeah. So I would tell you, Scott, if she were to visit your home, you
hide the knife.
should not have knives laying around because you could have an accident. Okay, because accidents happen in the home all the time. Okay, people slip all the time in a home. It's perfectly natural for people to have in-home injuries. It's not uncommon.
Yeah,
I almost cracked my skull in Cabo because my fiance just didn't think about anything. Gets out of the shower. It's one of those like fancy showers that's all in one room, tub, shower, toilet, whatever. She showers and I guess she needs to go pee or whatever. And then later, like literally 2 minutes later, I'm like, "Hey, I gotta pee." I go in there, wet as hell, take a step, and I literally like catch myself like Neo in the Matrix, dude. Like, I don't know how I did that. I was halfway back and I was like, my head, that would have ruined the vacation. I would have had a broken skull. Yeah. The accidents happen at home.
Alex, while you were on vacation,
yeah,
I know you were while Alex was away, and we didn't communicate too much. Really, we wanted to leave him alone. But you did text me. I want to say on Saturday or Sunday, because you guys must have gone to San Jose del Cabo.
We did.
And you asked me, hey, you mentioned a restaurant here, and what is it? And I sent you the text for this restaurant in San Jose del Cabo. It's called La Lupita, and it's like a little mezcal bar. And they made this. I went in there one day, and they made this like taco that was like fried cheese. So there wasn't a tortilla.
Yeah,
but it was fried cheese, and then chorizo. So this is like, hey, look, do you want to lose 10 years of your life right now and try and clog all your arteries?
Yes.
If so, eat this. So did you guys ever make it to where you asked me?
So when I asked you, I wasn't aware that cousin Nancy had already made dinner plans, but I knew we were going into town. So we didn't make it, but cousin Nancy went yesterday. But in Mexico, like nothing's open on Mondays, so it was closed. So she did not either go. We ended up going to some fancy, cousin Nancy gets down, dude. Like she doesn't mess around with things. So we ended up going to some fancy like farm to table restaurant in San Jose.
Which one? Which one do you know?
Acre.
Oh, phenomenal!
Yeah.
Outrageous. I mean, like
ridiculous.
One of the places that when you hear about, hey, I'm going to this part of Cabo, everybody knows to go to that place.
Yeah.
I mean, that is one spectacular place.
Yeah. Dave from Mountain Trust Mortgage Realty highly recommended Floral Farms, which
Floral Farms is also
we were gonna go there, but cousin Nancy made reservations at Acre, and that's what we ended up doing, which was our favorite meal of the entire trip. It was fantastic.
Yep.
Little peacock walking around. That's like the house mascot. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, really, really cool. Well, glad you're back. Glad everybody's with us. And I will just say one last thing, Alex, which is it's amazing how hard it is to do what we do. You make it look easy. Browner makes it look easy, especially when he's producing the Browner and Burt show, which went back on the radio last night. It'll be back on the radio tonight at 6 p.m.
And available via podcast now.
Yeah.
Yeah, now on audio podcast. So if you wanted to hear the interview between Browner and Burt and Jim McMahon, the quarterback of the 85 Bears, that is now available for audio podcast as well. You asked for it, you got it. But you make it look easy, dude. And I felt so bad. The first day we had a real hard time getting up on YouTube. The second day we had a hard time. The third day we actually got up 15 minutes early on YouTube. Thursday and Friday were amazing because somehow we pulled off a broadcast from Del Mar, which was also something that who knew if it was really going to work, even though we had tested everything. And then yesterday, everything was going great, other than for some reason, just getting the video to upload to YouTube.
I spoke with Cameron yesterday when I landed, and he told me about it's been processing for an hour. I'm like, dude, been there. That one happens. And I told him, Like, I don't know why I would ever tell him in the preparation of it, but I told him yesterday, I was like, yo, if this ever happens, if the video doesn't process within 10 minutes, start all over, because I think that sucker is not going to process. And unfortunately for him, what happened to him has happened to me numerous times, where he finishes, or it's almost finished uploading again, and then magically, boom, processed, ready to go. The original file, which is the worst.
I know.
Can't do anything about that.
I told him to make 2 tabs, the new one and the old one.
Yeah.
Well, he did a great job. I mean, to be 20 years old, there was a moment, dude, where he was on the air, Alex, and our iPad, which records everything that we do, had 1% battery. It was plugged in, but it wasn't charging. It had 1% battery, and we had like 7 minutes to go. And we weren't sure if we were going to make it till the end.
Yeah.
And literally, we're like, okay, we got to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, hell yes, we made it. And you had to see him, dude. Armpits were sweating.
Sweating bullets.
Sweating. Dude, it was just water dripping down his face. But to be 20 years old and that composed, Browner, right? I mean, you got to give the kid a ton of credit.
He was great the whole time. One of the things that I found to be interesting was that he took a lot to the process. He wanted to understand the process, why this was this, why this was that. And once he got his hands on it and he was able to kind of put his own little feel to it, he worked everything out. Like, his problem was the internet. Like, if he'd have been at a place, if he'd have been here the whole time, I don't think he would have ever had the upload issues. But I mean, the processing thing happens. But outside of that, he only had an issue with the internet. Producing the show, he was great. Like I said, his timelines were awesome. So he did a great job, man. He should be proud of it. He should be proud of his work. And I told him yesterday when I saw him before I left that I was proud of it. I was glad he was around.
And no one had issues with radio or TV. Like, no one reached out to me at all. So it was only the YouTube audience, which I know is a lot of our audience.
Right, but you know, the thing about the YouTube audience is that
They're
we
vocal.
know everybody.
Right.
Yeah, and they have a pattern, they have a routine that at 3 p.m. every day, whether they're sitting at home and they're watching it on TV, or they're continuing to work, or they're taking call, whatever it is that they're doing, they have a pattern of their day, which is and part of their day is hanging out with us. And when it's not available to them, they get pissed. And believe me, we were pissed too. So, all right, look, I'm going to get to all the top sports headlines that we want to get to coming up in just a matter of moments. Before I do, shout out to my people from Corky's Pest Control, 1-800-901-1102. I just want to say this. I have a message that comes to you every day. Okay. It's the same message every day. You know, if you've got spiders or ants, you know who to call. If you've got mice or you've got, rats, you know who to call. If you all of a sudden see what looks like sawdust down at the bottom of your walls, down at the base of your walls, and you're like, what is this? That could be termites. You know who to call. You got the story. It's been 20 years of telling you this, and it's been over 40 years of being in business and taking care of homeowners and business owners all throughout Southern California. If you have another pest control company and you are a great friend, you need to call Corky and say, hey, look, this is part of the Great Friends Network. That's why I use Corky's Pest Control. They're sponsors of the show. We ask you to support the sponsors of the show. Corky's Pest Control. You know they control pests. Call 1-800-901-1102.
Corky's. Kill him, Rose.
Nice, Browner. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right. So listen, last night, the Padres got rained out in Atlanta. So because the Padres couldn't play, and I was saying this to everybody yesterday on the air, Padres fans, pay attention to what is happening between the Dodgers and the Giants. It's very important. Now, you can be a Padre lover and therefore a Dodger hater, but I'm trying to tell you that the Dodgers and the Giants, over the course of the next 10 games for both teams, they play each other 7 times. Okay. 4 games in LA. Then the Dodgers have 3 games against Colorado and then 3 games in San Francisco. 7 of the next 10 head to head. And in between, you're playing the bottom feeder of the division. If you're the Dodgers and you think you're going to make a move, this is the time. If you're the Giants and you truly believe that this is your year again, then this is the time to hang on and try and put down the Dodgers. And last night, the Giants came out firing and swinging. And I read a stat this morning that it's the first time in like 3,000 baseball games between these two teams where both teams had back-to-back home runs in the first inning. Maybe you could check me on that stat, but I'm pretty much sure. Hey, Buster Posey comes out after being injured and taking time off before the All-Star break, and in his first at bat hits a 2-run home run, and before you knew it, the Giants had a 3-0 lead. This is a monster series, and the fact that the Padres didn't get to play last night because of the rainout, I turned my attention to the Dodgers and the Giants. And I'll tell all Padre fans, we'll talk about this a little bit more coming up, and other top headlines, including the NBA Finals, including the possible cancellation of the Olympics, and certainly a ton of NFL news, including Cam Akers, the Rams' leading running back from a year ago, losing his entire season the same week that training camp is set to open. I mean, it's early next week. Maybe it's Thursday.
Some this week.
Yeah, like the Cowboys open in Oxnard this week. I think the Cowboys are Thursday and the Rams get started early next week. I'll have to get the exact dates. Nonetheless, the Rams lose their top running back, a guy who was a second-round draft choice and had a really nice rookie year. They lose him to an Achilles injury. So we've got a ton of football stuff that we're going to get to, but we will lead off with a little more baseball. We're just getting rolling. Stick with us. It's Kaplan and Crew from the 7 Mile Casino Studio.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
Kaplan and Crew tonight is brought to you by BMW San Diego, your certified BMW dealer, serving drivers throughout San Diego and the surrounding areas.
Hey, Dave Smith here. Make sure you listen to my show on the Mightier 1090, 6 to 10 p.m. Saturday and Sunday night. The only local sports talk in all of Southern California on the weekends, right here on the Mightier 1090.
The all-new and mightier 1090.
Live soccer is back. Watch Orange County Soccer Club, OC's highest level of professional soccer, live on your view. Watch Orange County SC take on Sacramento Republic FC Saturday, July 24th at 7. Watch world-class players and future stars. Transform your summer with the new family game night and outdoor fun all season long. Live soccer is back. Orange County versus the Sacramento Republic, Saturday, July 24th at 7 on your view.
Welcome to the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank and our 90,000 square foot facility. We feed 350,000 people every single month. Many people ask, how can I help? You can volunteer for the San Diego Food Bank. Just go to san-diegofoodbank.org, register to volunteer. No group is too small, no group is too large, but those volunteers are integral to our success in feeding the community. Another way you can help is by hosting a food drive. Just go online and register your group, your company, your organization. It's that easy. Another great way is through our virtual food drive, where you can literally buy food on our behalf. Lastly, another great way to make an impact is to go online and make a financial contribution to the San Diego or North County Food Bank. On behalf of the San Diego Food Bank, our staff, our volunteers, and the 350,000 people we serve every month, thank you for helping us fight hunger and feed hope in San Diego County.
Time now for Kaplan and Crew tonight's Community Connect.
Shelter to Soldiers selects dogs from shelters and rescue groups all throughout California. Our ideal candidate at Shelter to Soldier is 8 months to a year and a half old. They're confident in different environments. They have strong social drive. Another motivator like food or toy drive. And ultimately, these are dogs that want to have a job and that have a greater purpose to become a service dog. Currently, about 85% of our dogs pass their service dog training. But if they don't pass, they become a career change. We don't like to use the word failure around here. So career change to an emotional support animal, or if that doesn't work out, then they career change to a pet dog. Still finding a loving placement and purpose in life.
Welcome to the Jacobs & Cushman San Diego Food Bank and our 90,000 square foot facility. We feed 350,000 people every single month. Many people ask, how can I help? You can volunteer for the San Diego Food Bank. Just go to sandiegofoodbank.org, register to volunteer. No group is too small, no group is too large, but those volunteers are integral to our success in feeding the community. Another way you can help is by hosting a food drive. Just go online and register your group, your company, or organization. It's that easy. Another great way is through our virtual food drive, where you can literally buy food on our behalf. Lastly, another great way to make an impact is to go online and make a financial contribution to the San Diego or North County Food Bank. On behalf of the San Diego Food Bank, our staff, our volunteers, and the 350,000 people we serve every month, thank you for helping us fight hunger and feed hope in San Diego County.
Hey, it's Pharrell here, inviting you to catch my shows on the Mightier 1090. We're on twice every Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. and 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific. Trust me, all the other sports stations are sleeping with your wife.
The all-new and Mightier 1090.
Sometimes they say it might work, it might not work. And so I ask myself the question, like, why even get the vaccine if it can also harm you? For me, it's like taking a 50-50 chance.
Hi, Andrea. Some say that the vaccine is harmful or that it might not work, but that's not true. Millions of people have been vaccinated with no ill effects, and I can tell you that getting the vaccine is far safer than not getting it.
Moore's Cancer Center is the only comprehensive cancer center in San Diego, which has NCI designation, which NCI stands for National Cancer Institute. And this is designated to only the highest possible ratings for cancer centers in the country. And that means that it's experts in every medical subspecialty pushing boundaries for difficult to treat cancers. We have a unique blend of cancer research and patient care, which really helps us take care of the whole patient from bench to bedside interventions with the latest research, and we're really pushing the boundaries to treat each individual cancer as much as possible. We're very proud of our leadership here in the community at UCSD.
Here's Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout with Haley Stasiak.
San Diego Loyal manager Landon Donovan earned USL Coach of the Month for the month of June on Monday. Donovan led the Loyal through June without a loss and to a perfect home record. The Loyal's outstanding month propelled them into the top 3 positions in the Pacific Division. They're now a contender for the playoffs at the end of the season and in good position to be a title contender in the postseason as well. The award is Donovan's first honor. San Diego is currently on a 9-game undefeated streak. They'll take on Pacific Division leader Phoenix Rising FC on Saturday. Some feel good for your Tuesday. Over the weekend, the team hit the shores to do a beach cleanup with the Rob Machado Foundation. The group helped collect 150 pounds of trash across 3 beaches in the area. That's your 60-second timeout. Now back to more Kaplan and Crew Tonight.
Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout is presented by Your View.
Classic Game Time. The best games from the past season on Your View.
It's like the spirit of Greenwood is all over the place in Tulsa, North Tulsa specifically. It's like it's not just one location anymore.
This is the beginning. This is a launching pad. This is not something that we just did to come together just for this moment.
The Spirit of Greenwood is brought to you by Multicultural Health Foundation. The vaccine can protect us. Will you? Verify and trust.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 in your view, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Hey, great friends, what is happening? Today is July 20th. It's Tuesday afternoon. The entire Mishbucha is back in the house. Grande Alejandro is back from vacation. Big Brown is still in our new corporate headquarters. By the way, that sounds really...
When that
really...
happened?
Oh, so here's what happened. Here's what happened, Grande, while you were away on vacay.
Yeah.
As we welcome you back inside the 7 Mile Casino Studios. Here's what happened. So Browner's down at the podcast shed. And Cameron, who filled in for you last week, went to the podcast shed as well. This was on Monday.
Mhm.
Didn't work. Disaster. Just did not work, right? So on Tuesday, I said, well, Cam, stay home and do the show the way you do the Sided podcast, which I thought would be easy as can be. Well, turns out his home internet is super slow. Could handle the Sided podcast, but couldn't handle the amount of time we spend on the air. So on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Cam and Browner went to this office space, Alex, that you've used in the past that I have been considering for a long time, possibly taking over. And everything worked out great. Now, Browner, I assume that you are going back to this corporate office because it's probably hot as balls in the podcast shed. And it's probably really nice and comfortable there in the new office space, isn't it?
Well, I developed this survivable system within the podcast shed where I could create an ecosystem where I could get the job done. But yes, it's much more comfortable here.
So like behind the scenes stuff, Browner came to my home today to drop the equipment off that we record with. And I don't think he's ever going back to the podcast shed. That's the vibe I got. If you gave him the keys, I think he's going there as long as there's a lease.
Well, it's funny because I was thinking that maybe we might want to all go there one day and see about possibly let's all go there one day, do the show together. Same place.
No. No. It has to be fixed before we can all do the show from here. We can't just do the show from here.
No, we have to fix it.
No, we the days of just trying things on the spot are gone. We have a prep team now, Scott.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Since we are a team here, 2/3 of this show will have to go to that building and make it legit before we can just show up there.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys tell me when you're curious or interested or when you want to do it. And
we got the key.
We got to go to his house and get a couple things.
Yeah, there's a ton of equipment that has to go from here to there, no doubt. Ton of equipment, probably a ton of equipment that I'm going to need to buy again. But
yeah.
But seriously, I'm all for it. I don't know about how you guys feel, but I am all for putting us all back together. Because one thing,
Can I take my dog?
Sure, absolutely. One thing I learned last week, in particular, while you were gone, is guests don't really want to do Zoom anymore. Guests are always saying to me, they're like, yo, where do we go? What time should we be there? What should we do in preparation? And I'm like, no, dude, you're fine. Just stay home or stay in your office. Yeah. Guests are ready to come back and be in person. And so with that being said, I'm hopeful that we can all get back together. And if you guys are ready to rebuild what we had originally built here in my house, if you guys are ready to rebuild it, we'll take over that space and we'll do it. I'm ready.
Let's buckle up then.
I don't know if everybody else is ready. I know Browner's ready because he's there.
Right.
Alex is probably like, nah, I don't want to do that.
Well, maybe for the summer months, it gets pretty hot in this office. So there's no AC in this office.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, listen, let's do this. Let's get to all the headlines because, we spent the first segment and the second segment kind of just reacquainting, hearing about some vacay stories and talking about what went right and what went wrong because it was the first time ever that Alex actually took a break. I mean, this guy had Corona twice and still came to my house every day.
Almost got it
Never missed a day. I actually want to hear about you almost getting it again. I do want to hear about that. I do. So stay tuned, everybody, because I want to hear about that too. Before we get on, let's get to the top headlines of the day. I do want to take 1 minute to talk about the Total T Clinic, and I'm just going to make this real quick for you guys. Look, I'm reading so much right now about the potential cancellation of the Olympics. Could you imagine? You've trained and trained and trained. They postponed the Olympics because of Corona. Now they've brought the Olympics back, And the week of the opening ceremonies, you're in the best shape of your life. You're prepping your mind. You're tapering your body. You're trying to do proper nutrition through all of your travel, etc. And you're literally an Olympic athlete who is hearing the same thing we all are, which is Japan is contemplating the possibility of canceling the Olympics. So I want to bring it home now. Guys, you get a little older, your testosterone levels drop. That's a natural thing. When it happens, your body's not fighting off infection. Okay. Your body's not feeling strong. You're certainly not as virile as you once were. Fellas, I'm here to tell you that the Total T Clinic can help you with all of that. And by the way, they're so confident in their treatment that for the first time ever in the like 5 or 6 years that we've been working together, for the first time ever, the Total T Clinic is willing to give you your first months of treatment for only $99. And I never talk about costs because a lot of times, in fact, I would say more often than not, this kind of stuff can be covered by your health insurance. But I'm telling you that they're so confident, they're saying $99 for the first month of treatment. So please, guys, stay strong, stay healthy, get virile if you're not feeling it, and make an appointment. Total T Clinic, totaltclinic.com. Make an appointment, get your testosterone levels checked for free. And then the first month's only $99, totaltclinic.com. All right, guys, huge day of headlines. Where would you like to start? I started with Dodgers and Giants because Padres got rained out in Atlanta. And I'll start right there then for one quick second. Listen, this is a 4-game series between the Padres and Giants and Dodgers. Giants come out swinging. Giants win game 1 of 4. 4 games in LA. Then the Dodgers have Colorado, who they just took 2 out of 3 from, and then 3 games in San Francisco. 7 of 10 games are head-to-head between the Giants and the Dodgers. It's a huge series because the Dodgers clawed their way back in to be 1 game back of San Francisco prior to last night. And the Padres ended the first half of the season 6 games back. And even though they got to 5, they obviously missed the game yesterday. Alex, take us through where we are.
Giants are now 59-34. Dodgers 58-37, 2 games back. And the Padres, who didn't play yesterday, are 5.5 games back, 55-41.
Okay, so I've got these friends at a website called DodgerBlue.com, and they posted and then embedded a cited question onto their website. And I see it's getting a lot of traction because Dodger fans are the kinds of people who visit DodgerBlue.com. Take a look at this poll that they put up. And then, guys, tell me how you would vote on this. Dodgers and Giants play 4 games. And the question that DodgerBlue.com had for everybody was, how many games will the Dodgers win in this series? Alex, you haven't voted yet. Browner, how many games do you think the Dodgers will win versus the Giants will win in this series? If you had to make a prediction, what would you say?
I'm going 3 for the Giants. I'm going 3 for the Giants. I think the Dodgers really got a lot to figure out with their pitching. They got bombed last night, and I don't really know what direction they're going to go in. Obviously, we know that they have issues with one guy who will remain nameless.
Yeah. Last night, their starter was Gonsolin, who's not one of their top guys. Not even really a starter. And today they're supposed to be going with a bullpen day, the Dodgers. And even the Giants, though, last night had their top ace going, and he kind of got beat up and didn't last very long. And yet the Giants won that game. So you've got the Giants winning 3-1. Alex, how about for you?
The best thing as a Padres fan that could happen to this series is a split down the middle, and that the eventual 7 games they're going to play is 4-3. And I don't really care who takes the 4. Like, that is what I'm hoping for every time these two teams play each other, since the Padres are so far behind, is that they split as many games as possible. So I'm going to go with 2.
Yeah, and that's how I voted as well. So go ahead and put it back up on the screen. For those of you that are watching on television, if you're unfamiliar, this is a platform that we have built. It is called Sided. This is the website you're looking at, sided.co, and medium large, because you're looking at that in the upper left-hand corner. That is a publisher in LA. They've got Dodger Blue, they've got Lakers Nation, NHL Rumors, and other websites like this. And so they've asked the question, how many games will the Dodgers win in this series? I voted 2 as well. Alex, what are the results right now?
Right now, the results are 4 games, 18%, 3 games, 46%, 2 games, 27%, and 1, 6%.
Okay, well, Browner's in that 1 range, in that 6%, and Alex and I are in the 2. which was coming in second. At
we
that
have
time.
we have moved on from saying that the Giants are going to fall off, right? Like we can't say that no more. Like I have resigned to the fact that they're just going to be in this thing the entire time. I mean, they keep proving over and over that their pitching they may not have any star offense, even though I think they have some names, but they're not really performing at this high level. But how can we say that? Let's just expect the Giants to fall off. They just keep winning.
I agree. I have dropped the fight against they'll start losing games here and there. I let that go. This seems like a really good, well-rounded team of no-name guys who just come to the park and work hard. Their pitching is held up all year long. They're getting Buster Posey back. He showed up big last night. I think they're going to have to be beat. At first, I thought they would start dropping games here and there, but I honestly feel like they're going to have to be beat by one of the other teams in the division, being the Dodgers or the Padres, because they're playing fantastic baseball, consistent, fantastic baseball.
I gotta agree as well. I mean, I thought that the Giants were a first half surprise, but the way they've come out here already in the second half, and by the way, they didn't play great against St. Louis in their first series, but I mean, to go on the road at Dodger Stadium in what is we always think that the Padres-Dodgers has a playoff feel. That game last night had a playoff feel to it. And Buster Posey is an X factor that most of us probably didn't realize was going to be this good this late in his career after winning 3 championships already and going through a lot of major injuries. Many of us probably did not realize how good Buster Posey was still going to be. So I think the Giants are a team that is going to be there all year long. And this is why I was saying yesterday that while the Padres are playing the Braves and then they go play Miami for 4 games, you got to start racking up some wins while these two teams are going head to head for 7 games over the next 10. So that was certainly a first thought. I'll keep moving on though here today, guys. Other major headlines in sports, and John Clayton will join us coming up, our NFL insider. And there's a huge story from the LA Rams training camp. And again, I say training camp. Camp is about to open. And I know that even next week, I'm going up to Irvine to visit Rams training camp one day next week. But Cam Akers, the running back for the Rams, who was a second-round draft choice out of Florida State a year ago and had a good year. I'm not saying that he was an all-pro. I'm not saying he was LaDainian Tomlinson. Okay, he had a really, really nice rookie season.
He was their leading rusher.
Leading rusher, played well in their playoff appearances. Cam Akers, expected to be a big part of the running attack of the Rams this year. According to the reports, in a workout, so think about this. You're working out for training camp, which is about to start. In a workout, he tears his Achilles and is now gone for the season. So where does that leave the Rams? Are the Rams in a situation where they had a number? Let me rephrase. This is not Todd Gurley. This is not a number 1 exclusive running back. This is a one that's part of a 3. Does it change anything? In my opinion, not really. I mean, good player, hasn't proven to be a great player yet. Good player, good rookie season. And I don't think that all of a sudden the Rams' odds are going to change drastically because Cam Akers is gone for the year. They've been able to sustain a running game of some sort with a superstar like Gurley into a guy like CJ Anderson that came from out of nowhere into a rookie like a guy like Cam Akers. But it does suck if you're a Rams fan because you were looking forward to seeing this kid's development in year 2, and he's gone for the season. What do you guys think?
I think the only upset person are in the Rams building. I don't really think the fans really are that moved by the loss of Cam Akers because what we've seen in the NFL is the running back is the most replaceable position in the league. Like there are a couple of really special guys like Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott, the kid in New York. But other than that, like they're Dalvin Cook, they're highly replaceable. So unless you lose Christian McCaffrey to an Achilles injury, fill it in the hole, man. Replace him with somebody else.
Last I checked, Todd Gurley's available. Bring him home.
Melvin Gordon was available until yesterday.
All I'm saying, Todd Gurley's available. I think his ego has been crashed down to earth now. I think that was a big thing with Todd Gurley after his big rookie season. But I mean, the guy's still a free agent. Training camp's open this week.
He knows the system.
He knows the system.
Speaks the language.
Got
right?
another.
Yeah.
They got a quarterback that they're gonna be a pass heavy team that they always kind of are. He's a great at a check down. So I don't know why you don't bring Todd Gurley back
And great catching the ball out. And great catching the ball out of the backfield.
Yep, and I think that's a huge part of the Rams game is the play action, the dumping off. I think you call Todd Gurley, but the only reason I know this, I had this guy on my fantasy football team. When Darrell Henderson filled in for him, he was really good.
Yeah.
So I think that they're okay with Darrell Henderson being their one and Malcolm Brown being there too. But if I'm Les Snead, I'm calling Todd Gurley right now. Like, dude, come home. Let's do this.
Right. Like, hey, listen, you helped us get to a Super Bowl. We didn't win it. We think and I say we
paid you too damn much money.
Right. We, the Rams, think we've significantly upgraded the quarterback position. So come home, take less, be a role player, and help kind of create some resolution, if you will, in your career.
Mm-hmm.
Started off with us, got big payday, got hurt, got booted, went to Atlanta, didn't really have much success.
You know who else?
Individually or team-wise? Who else?
Adrian Peterson. I think Adrian Peterson in spots still provides you. When he was the one guy in Washington last year, because they had so many injuries themselves, he fills in that role nicely to just be a backup, a third guy. Like, I think Adrian Peterson, and LA loves the names. We know Les Snead loves the names, man. He's not afraid to bring in names. Adrian Peterson, I think, still got it too.
I don't know if Adrian Peterson still has the ego. So I don't know if he would necessarily. I think Adrian Peterson is far less likely. That name would be a lot bigger and a lot more flashier. But I think going back to the person who left you is a better fit here.
You think there's any chance Le'Veon Bell gets a call?
Hell no.
Le'Veon Bell in that offense.
No, would be great.
Old Le'Veon Bell.
I'm contemplating, by the way. So, you jumped in with an immediate reaction. No way.
Yeah.
Why so? I'm just curious why you had an immediate reaction like that.
Because if you think Le'Veon Bell still wants to play football, you are sadly mistaken. You are going to sign up to give this guy a check to be the third running back who doesn't want to work.
Check.
You're right. It won't be a big check, but do you want to even deal with the name Le'Veon Bell being talked about in the news as being disgruntled about this or doing that? You talk about a distraction. No thanks. No, thank you.
No, I hear what you're saying. I do, but you gotta balance risk reward.
You do.
If you work him out and you think Le'Veon Bell can be the player that he was 3 or 4 years ago in Pittsburgh, it might be worth the risk. If you work him out and you go, you know what, this is why he didn't do anything with the Jets because he's not that good, and this is why he really didn't make a contribution with the Chiefs because he's really not that good, then of course the risk is too much. Because you're right, he's a diva and he's a pain in the ass.
And he runs different. He runs different than anybody else that they had as well. That's why he was so good in Pittsburgh, because they catered their line to the way that he ran. The Jets really necessarily didn't do that. Unsuccessful. The Chiefs were not going to do that. Unsuccessful. And so I don't know if the Rams would be willing to now alter the way that their blocking scheme goes for this guy who you're not sure if he wants to play.
I actually think, Alex, you've already nailed it. And I wonder if the Rams and their front office and everybody's ego could be checked at the door. I really think the smartest move would be to bring Gurley back.
Yes.
Because he speaks the language. He knows the system. He knows many of the players. He knows the area. I mean, he's still a young enough guy. And you're not going to ask Todd Gurley to be a one who carries the ball 30 times a game.
Right.
You're going to ask him to be a 1, 2, 3. You're going to say, look, we're going to have running back by committee, popular phrase in the NFL. And that's what Todd Gurley would be part of the committee.
Most importantly, the head coach knows what he can do. Like the inner workings of the person. He knows what he can trust him doing, and now Todd Gurley knows what he can no longer do either. So the understanding between the two men would be at a very, very good place.
But this is also the assumption that they think that they have a problem. you know, because I know that they
True.
were expecting Cam Akers to be their one, but he did split a lot of the work with Darrell Henderson and I think that guy
and
Malcolm Brown. So
yeah,
we're under the assumption that they think they need maybe a one. I don't know. I don't think Todd Gurley's a one. I don't think Le'Veon. I know Le'Veon Bell's not a one. And I don't think Adrian Peterson's a one.
And by the way, of the three of them, if you put Gurley in there with Malcolm Brown and Darrell Henderson, none of them are really a one, or none of them have emerged as a one,
right?
Other than Gurley, who was early in his career. By the way, as we're talking, I just want to say one thing real quickly. I always joke about how people find what is the 1090 radio show and the YouTube show. People now find it on television. And I always think to myself, it's because people are just flipping channels and they find Your View, Channel 4 in San Diego and Santa Barbara, 118 in Palos Verdes in Orange County. As you guys are talking, I have a couple of different TVs on in my studio here, and one of them is on ESPN. And at a commercial break, they had a 30-second promo for the show on ESPN. So I have never seen that before.
For which
where
show?
There was for the Kaplan and Crew TV show on Your View tonight. There I should have probably been more specific. There was a 30-second commercial. It's got our faces. It's got your faces. It's got a bunch of guests' faces. You know, the promo commercial that runs just ran on ESPN in the afternoon here. So, hey, yeah, really dope. Really, really dope. Hey, listen, one other story real quick. Speaking of NFL football, I got to say this Raiders story is interesting because I didn't know that their president of their organization for all these years is all of a sudden abruptly going to retire. I'll get to that story. John Clayton is around the corner. Stick around.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
Kaplan and Crew tonight is brought to you by BMW San Diego, your certified BMW dealer, serving drivers throughout San Diego and the surrounding areas.
Arash Markazi here, inviting you to catch my show, The Arash Markazi Show, on the mightier 1090. We are on every Monday through Friday from noon to 1 p.m. Pacific time. Join me and producer extraordinaire G. Wiley, where we chop up Los Angeles sports and try not to piss too many people off.
The all-new and mightier 1090.
With live theater on hold and performers and crew out of work, the folks at Subaru of El Cajon had a great idea.
Why not help all the artists and artisans in San Diego put a musical on?
And so Sharing the Love was born. This musical collaboration between Subaru of El Cajon and the performing arts community celebrates positivity in the face of strife.
Love is for sharing, hate is despairing. There is no comparing the two.
Watch Sharing the Love, Saturday and Sunday, only on Your View.
Welcome to the Jacobs & Cushman San Diego Food Bank and our 90,000 square foot facility. We feed 350,000 people every single month. Many people ask, how can I help? You can volunteer for the San Diego Food Bank. Just go to sandiegofoodbank.org, register to volunteer. No group is too small, no group is too large, but those volunteers are integral to our success in feeding the community. Another way you can help is by hosting a food drive. Just go online and register your group, your company, or organization. It's that easy. Another great way is through our virtual food drive, where you can literally buy food on our behalf. Lastly, another great way to make an impact is to go online and make a financial contribution to the San Diego or North County Food Bank. On behalf of the San Diego Food Bank, our staff, our volunteers, and the 350,000 people we serve every month, thank you for helping us fight hunger and feed hope in San Diego County.
Kaplan and Crew tonight presents Sports in a Minute.
The Tokyo Olympics get started on Friday. There are over 70 athletes with San Diego ties heading to this year's games. The sports with the most ties include rugby, skateboarding, and swimming. The San Diego Union Tribune did an infographic displaying 100 years of the Olympics and the San Diego ties. They showed that out of over 300 athletes with ties to San Diego, a majority participate in the Summer Games. A majority of the athletes also from the county are track and field. More than half of the Olympians went to San Diego State University, and Point Loma and San Diego are the high schools that have produced the most athletes. This year's athletes will represent San Diego in 15 of the 34 sports in Tokyo. I'm Haley Stasiak. That's your Sports in a Minute. Now back to more Kaplan and Crew tonight.
Steve Gray here, inviting you to catch my show, Let's Talk Hookup, every Saturday and Sunday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific Time. For over 30 years, we've been the voice of the fishing community for Southern California, and so glad to be back on the big stick.
The all-new and mightier 1090.
Explore the Southwest lifestyle, the culture, the music, the food, y más. Join hosts J.R. Cardenas and Vanessa Ramirez on Su Vida. Enjoy the food, discover new artists, and fun things to do.
Watch Su Vida, Sunday night at 7 on YourView. Brought to you by Harrah's Resorts, Southern California. It's more than a place, it's a state of mind.
Love promise moments are part of the mission of what we do here at Subaru El Cajon. A love promise moment is when we as human beings deliver an experience beyond exceptional to any one of our guests, and then that guest's life is positively affected by that interaction. It's amazing to watch what happens when two human beings talk on that level and create something magical. And sometimes they drive away with a car, sometimes they don't, but we've had an impact on that person's life, and that's the magic. You know, our employees react to things like Make-A-Wish, Feeding San Diego, and the other groups we help by jumping in.
This year, through COVID, we were able to help a little girl out and got her a rather large scooter that she needed for mobility.
We gave up our Christmas party as employees, and we actually adopted a wish of a young girl here in El Cajon, and we gave her a 3-wheel scooter so she didn't have to use her wheelchair all the time. It gives me goosebumps even thinking about it.
Let's take it up a notch with Kaplan and Crew tonight's Premium Boost, powered by the mightier 1090.
San Diego is a great place for deep sea fishing because it's home of the largest sport fishing fleet in the world. You can go on a half-day trip, a full-day trip, multi-day trip, all the way up to 18 days to catch tuna and wahoo, or just locally here to catch yellowtail. When booking a deep sea fishing excursion out of San Diego, there's several resources, and of course, the San Diego landings have great web pages. Seaforthlanding.com, fishermanslanding.com, PointLomaSportFishing.com are the perfect resource to book your next fishing vacation out of San Diego. What you need to do to have fun in the sun while you're out fishing is, of course, you'll have to obtain a California fishing license or a Mexican fishing license, depending on where the trip goes, and then get set up with tackle. All the landings have all the tackle for rental, and they'll give you all the guidance on the boat for catching a lot of fish here in San Diego. What you should wear out on the water when you're fishing here in San Diego? Layers. And that's the key, because you're probably not going to get very wet because you're going to go out on a nice day, but just be prepared for layers because it can get pretty cool on the water. You know, summertime is always the best, from I would say June through September, but prime months actually in San Diego, September, October are probably the 2 prime months. Best water conditions and probably the most abundance of fish. So as far as taking your fish home, they'll fillet the fish for you on the boat and put it into a package for you, or you can use one of the local processors like Fisherman's Processing that'll vacuum seal and freeze your fish so that you can put it in your cooler and take it home and eat it. Depending on how long your excursion is, you can go anywhere from a half-day trip for around $50 plus your license, all the way up to a multi-day trip that maybe costs several $100s per day. But a full-day trip is going to cost you about $150 a day, depending on the Mexican license or California licenses that you need to get.
Kaplan and Crew tonight's Premium Boost is powered by the mightier 1090. Kaplan and Crew tonight is brought to you by BMW San Diego, your certified BMW dealer, serving drivers throughout San Diego and the surrounding areas.
Shelter to Soldier selects dogs from shelters and rescue groups all throughout California. Our ideal candidate at Shelter to Soldier is 8 months to a year and a half old. They're confident in different environments. They have strong social drive, another motivator like food or toy drive. And ultimately, these are dogs that want to have a job and that have a greater purpose to become a service dog. Currently, about 85% of our dogs pass their service dog training. But if they don't pass, they become a career change. We don't like to use the word failure around here. So career change to an emotional support animal Or if that doesn't work out, then they career change to a pet dog, still finding a loving placement and purpose in life.
Thank you for joining us. Catch Scott Kaplan and crew tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific, every Monday through Friday. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio, SoCal Sports Talk.